Hey there, y'all. It's Lisa Duke with Lisa Duke Financial Coaching. And this video is an exercise to help you understand the model. If you are interested in learning more about this, your first best source would be to go to Brooke Castillo, since she's really the creator of the model. You can find her information. Probably the best place is her podcast. If you just search on Life Coach School, she has a ton of great episodes out there that go into the model in depth. And you can also find her on her website for the Life Coach School, where she goes over this. So she is not the only person that teaches it. A lot of her students teach it. And I learned it both from listening to her podcast and then also from working with one of her students, Stacy, now Bayman, originally Smith, and she teaches the model and uses it with her clients as well. So hopefully this is the right way around for you guys. It actually looks backwards on my screen, but either way, you should be able to see it well enough to follow around, even if it's kind of mirror writing for you. So what is the model? If you're familiar with the law of attraction, if you've ever seen the movie The Secret, they talk about this concept of, if you imagine something and you think about it long enough, that it will magically appear in your life. And we all have had instances where it happens just that magically. Maybe you're thinking about a friend and all of a sudden they call or they text. I've had that happen many times where I'm thinking about a client, they email me and I reply back, you must have heard me thinking about you. So sometimes that kind of thing does happen where you just think about something and it magically appears in your life. However, I believe for most of us, most of the time, it's not quite that simple. I always joke that, if you could just meditate and manifest a Maserati, there'd be a lot of Maseratis parked in front of the monastery. Even if the monks sold them and donated the money, they would just accidentally keep manifesting them. I don't know, maybe monks don't think about fast cars, but I know regular guys do. So that's my theory. There'd be a lot of luxury sports cars parked in front of monasteries if it was just as instant as you think about it and it shows up. Usually there's a little bit of legwork that is required to make the law of attraction work for most of us. And so the model is really cool because it takes the idea of the law of attraction, the idea of manifesting, and it makes it a little more practical, tactical, real world for those of us that are a little more grounded and not quite so woo-woo. So what does the model say? It basically says, life will hand you a circumstance. Shit happens, right? So a thing happens in the world, and it just is. But where it starts to get important is our reaction to it, and our first reaction is our thought. So let's say it's a nice Saturday down here in South Florida, and it starts raining. My thought might be, oh no, I was planning on having a party outside and the rain is ruining my party. And then I would go on through this model and have a really terrible time because I already had decided that the rain was a bad thing. Somebody else might have the thought, same exact circumstance. It's a beautiful Saturday in South Florida and it starts raining. The thought might be, oh, yay, we've been having a drought. We really need the rain. This is going to save my lawn. And this could be a really positive thing, just kind of depending upon, where you start off in your reaction to the circumstance. And on some level, we all know that our reaction to the circumstance is really the biggest determining factor of the impact it will have on our lives. Sometimes this is really easy to see. Sometimes it is not so easy to see. But the more you get in the habit of using the model, the more you really will see that when a circumstance happens, your thought is really what kind of kicks the ball off and gets things going and determines how that circumstance affects the rest of your life. So again, different people or even you on a different day might have a different thought in relation to that same circumstance. But the other thing that's important to note about your thought is you don't necessarily have to run with the first thought that your brain presents to you. And this is where meditation really starts to have an effect. Now, I will admit I am not a super constant every single day meditator, although I'm working towards developing the habit. But even just a little bit of sort of casual meditation, intermittent meditation that I've done, I have started to see that this is one of the effects of meditation, is that you become more aware of your thoughts, and it puts a little bit of a pause between the steps of this process. So a circumstance happens, I have a thought about it, but I am not condemned to live my life in accordance with the first thing that pops in my mind. I have a choice point here. It's a beautiful day, I plan on having a picnic, and it starts to rain as a circumstance. The thought is, oh no, this is terrible. I planned to have a party, and now the party is ruined. I can go with that, and I can have a terrible day, or I can choose a different thought. I can choose a thought that serves me better. So the thought might be, well, this is not what I was planning on, but everything happens for a reason, or we can have a good time anyway, or this is why I rented a pavilion at the park, so that if it did rain, we could all kind of huddle under the pavilion and still enjoy each other's company. So circumstance provokes a thought. You have a choice as to whether you want to roll with that thought, or you want to choose a different thought, a better thought that serves you, that improves your life. But then in reaction to those thoughts that you're having, you're going to notice you're having an emotional reaction. You have a feeling as a result of the thought. Now, a lot of people think the feeling is a result of the circumstance, but it's really not. It's a result of the thought. So again, if the circumstance is it's raining and my thought is this is terrible, my feeling is I feel bad, maybe I'm sad, maybe I'm depressed, maybe I'm mad because my plans always get ruined, that emotion is going to be very different than the emotion that somebody would have if their thought is, oh yay, the grass was looking kind of crunchy and now I don't have to worry about what's going to happen to my lawn. Hopefully this will break the drought. This will really help the farmers. Somebody who's having those kind of thoughts is going to have a very different emotional reaction to the same circumstance. And what's interesting about this emotional reaction piece is this is a lot of what drives how we live our lives. When you have that bad feeling, that negative feeling, it can really bring you down, and it can really kind of get you in a negative spiral where one negative feeling leads to another negative feeling, and the next thing you know, you're, I don't know, staring at the bottom of a sleeve of Thin Mints, and you've lost the whole day to Netflix or whatever your coping mechanism of choice is, right? But it's important to realize that based on this thought we choose, that drives a lot of that emotional reaction. And like I said earlier, you don't have to go with the first thought you're offered. You can choose a different thought that will lead to a different feeling. So the next piece of this is your actions. So based on your circumstance and your thought about that circumstance and your emotional reaction to the thought you're having about the circumstance, that will really drive your action. So your action might be to text everybody and say, hey, I know it's kind of sprinkling, but just bring an umbrella. Got a spot under a pavilion. We're still going to move forward with our party. Or your action might be to get really angry and pissed off, and people still come, but you're grouchy and angry and mean to them, and they wish they hadn't come. Whatever that thought and that feeling is, will really drive your actions, and your your feeling is really kind of your emotion and your energy that's behind those actions. So you can take all the right actions, but if your emotion and your beliefs are not right and happy and aligned with what you want to create, then the actions can sometimes sort of get blocked and get thwarted. You won't get what you want out of the actions. And that leads us to the final piece of the model, which is your result. So as you can see, the thing happens, we have a thought about it, and we choose a thought, a belief to go with. Based on the thought and belief we settle on, we end up with an emotional reaction, a feeling. The thoughts and the feelings drive our actions, and then of course, the actions we take lead inevitably to our result. So this really takes it kind of from woo-woo, like just think and things will magically happen. Have a thought and you'll get a result. That's kind of the magic woo-woo law of attraction. But this shows a lot more step-by-step how you get that end result. And so a lot of times what you will find is if you're not getting the action you want, the place to make the change is right back here at the thought. And very often the result you get will prove whatever thought you had to be true. So let's say it rains and you were gonna have a party and you're really depressed and angry about it. So you send out a snotty, hateful text to all your friends saying, well, my party's effing ruined and I knew this was gonna happen, and this kind of thing always happens to me, and it never rains on anybody else's birthday, so just forget the whole party, don't even come. If your thought is, you know, I don't have any friends, nobody likes me anyway, and then you feel terrible and then you send this yucky text message, the result may well be that people are so put off by this scary text message that they just don't text you back. And the result is you don't have any friends, or you at least feel like you don't have any friends. So often that result will prove the initial thought. So you can use this on your own in your journal. Just write out CTFAR, and instead of the whole word, you can put in whatever your scenario is. So if you just put it in your journal, CTFAR, and work through it. Circumstance, boss yelled at me. Thought, I'm gonna get fired. Feeling, feel terrible. Action, yell at the boss. Result, get fired. You can kind of see how this works, how this causality is at play. And you can also kind of game out different scenarios. Well, if I go with that thought, what is the result likely to be? What if I choose a different thought? How could that result be different? And so this will really help you kind of reflect back to yourself, your thinking. I will say though, while you can do a lot of this on your own, it also works really, really well with a coach. Sometimes we don't have clarity. It's like, you know, it's almost too close to our own faces. We can't see our own minds as clearly as somebody with an outside perspective. So this is a really good tool to use with a coach like me that has been trained in the model. It works really great for weight loss, for financial issues, for romance, anything where you are trying to break a pattern or you're trying to see the patterns that are in your life. The model is a really great tool. So I hope that is helpful to you. CTFAR, just write it out, play with it a little bit on your own, and if you need help with it, then let me know and we can schedule a session to go through it. Thanks, take care, bye-bye.